Okay, bass players, we're going to talk about how to take care of these. There's not a whole lot to it, but the big thing is going to be how to tune it. So we're going to talk about how to tune today. I've got my tuner, right? Oop, I also have a metronome on my tuner that I just pressed. But I have my tuning app right here. I'll show you how it works and how we can tune the bass with it. There's a ton of different tuners we can use, but I'm just going to show you the basics of tuning. So to set this up, all you have to do is take it out of the case. You can play it without an amp, or you can play it with an amp. You can plug into the amp. What I'm going to recommend you do, and actually what I'm going to ask you to do for your amp settings is, if you have knobs that say low, mid, or high, turn them all to medium. Turn every knob to medium except your volume or your gain knob. And then adjust the volume and gain for however loud you want to play. But we're going to do our EQ, we call it as flat. So everything the same. You can see right here I have my low, my mids, and my high. You might have two mid knobs, you might have one. The point is we want them all set to the same level because we're going to change the way our bass sounds with our fingers, and we're going to work on that. Eventually, we can get into talking about amps, but we're not going to talk about that just yet. Okay, so bass, plug the cable into here. One thing, when you have an amp, don't plug the cable into the amp and not the instrument and then turn it on. You always want the cable plugged into the instrument and don't pull it out before it's turned off. I'm going to do it just this once to show you. Well, if I turn the volume up, we get this bad buzzing noise, and then if we put it in like this, that's just bad for the amplifier. So avoid that. We just always want it to be off and then unplugged and then plugged in before we turn it on. Okay, so let's talk about tuning it. I'm in tune right now, E, A, D, G, but I'm going to untune. And so these are our tuning knobs. Usually if you twist them away from you, actually, figure out which way. So I'm going to down tune it. Actually, I'm going to purposely tune one too high. If you go too high, you can snap your strings, so just be aware of that. Okay, now I want to match up on my tuner the note to what I want it to sound like. So if we look at this, it's backwards for you. I apologize about that. But the first note I'm going to tune is usually I tune my A string. Okay, and we're going to talk, there's other ways to tune, better ways to tune, but we're going to just talk about very simply playing open strings. So I'm going to pluck this A, and it's telling me I have a low D. Okay, so I'm going to start turning it until I get that green light for A. Okay, now this bass is really out of tune. So I'm going to have to come back and tune this later because as you adjust the other strings, it takes them, the more you adjust the other strings, the more it takes the bass out of tune. So I've got my A, now I'm going to tune a D, and this is too low as well. Okay, then I got my smiley face, you can see it on my knee. I've got my smiley face for a D. Now I'm going to tune G, and I tune this one too high. So I've got to bring it down, and just listen for the pitch to go up or down to know that you're twisting it the right direction. There we go, I've got G, and now I'm going to tune E. This one's way low, you can hear it. Okay, now I've got the E. If I go back to the A, I guarantee you it's going to be out of tune, because especially the E changes the tension on the entire instrument, which is going to change the pitch when you're tuning it. So here's my A, a little bit flat, so I'm going to bring it back up. Now D, okay, D's still in tune, G's in tune, and my E's in tune. So now my bass is in tune. If you want to tune by ear, you can have a tuner play a sound. I think even Google will play a sound, but let me turn this up so you can hear it. This is going to play an A, and then I'd match that my A is the same pitch, but I've already tuned with the tuner, so it's all in tune. When you put it away, again, turn the amp off first before taking the cable out, and you're good to go. Just put it away. You can wipe it down too. That'll extend the life of the fretboard and your strings. And that's it for taking care of the electric bass and tuning it.